Kenny, that was a funny old afternoon. You could have lost heavily with the chances Celtic created, but at the same time, you probably should have got a point as well.
Well, we could easily have got a point towards the end, and I thought it was going to be one of these afternoons where, you're right, Celtic had a number of chances to put the game out of sight, really, and we hung in there through good defending and poor finishing from their point of view, good goalkeeping from Dan. And in the last 5-10 minutes, it just shows you what can happen in a game. That Lee's had a couple of chances, and but I was delighted with the character that the players showed after a really poor start. I thought the first 25 minutes, half an hour, lacked a little bit of belief, and I think the confidence, with losing the early goal kind of affected us, and it gave a bit of momentum towards Celtic.
Were you sitting on the bench thinking when Dan was making save after save, or it was going wide of the post, thinking, this could be our day here?
Yeah, definitely. I think it was, we've seen games like that before where a team dominate for long spells and they don't manage to get that killer second goal or the third goal. And I thought it could have been one of these afternoons that we could maybe pop up towards the end of the game and get an equaliser, but it was one of these afternoons again where the character was decent.
You mentioned the start there, Kenny. Obviously that wasn't helped by the goal that you conceded. It was a poor one from our point of view.
Again, it was a self-inflicted mistake. I think we should have dealt with the goal a lot better. Fraser's back pass, Simon and Dan kind of got in a bit of a mix-up. So it was important that we bounced back from that, but it's happened too many times. The goals that we're conceding, John Souttar's header last week, and it's not giving us a chance to get ourselves bedded into the game.
You must have been pleased with the reaction to that when the goal went down, because after about 10 minutes after that we weathered the storm, and then you mentioned the first half, last 15-20 minutes of that looked quite good at times.
Important to hang in for the whole 90 minutes. Said that, I think if they had got the second goal a little bit earlier in the second half, it could have been one of these afternoons again also. They could maybe have run up 3 or 4, but we hung in there, as I said earlier. The defending was decent, and we showed a bit of determination to make sure we didn't concede that second goal and keep ourselves in the game. And Lee, on another day, that if the header goes in or the shot in the final minute, if that goes in, it's a great point for us. But unfortunately, it's not. But the character, and we'll take the positives out of it, and that was a plus. It's
also easy to forget that we actually were down to 10 men for almost about half an hour of the game as well. First of all, have you any complaints about the red card? And secondly, given it was 10 men, and you've talked about the character they showed, that was just exacerbated that character. But given that they've run a real shift.
Well, I haven't seen the tackle again, and I was kind of unsighted a little bit for Simon's challenge, but he's not complaining too much. The rest of the lads are not complaining too much, so that to me tells me that it was a definite red card. But yeah, down to 10 men. I was at Tynecastle on Sunday there and watched Celtic, play against Hearts with 10 men, and I thought, well, it's going to be, going to be a difficult last 20-25 minutes for us. But as I say earlier, we hung in there, and just it's the point when we didn't get a point, because I think we on sheer effort alone for that last hour of the game, I think it was something that we possibly deserved.
It's been a baptism of fire for you, because the 4 games you've had Dundee United twice, Inverness, Cali and Celtic, arguably 3 of the hardest games this league has to offer. Putting it to one side all the things that are going on off the field, the next 3 or 4 games, obviously Ross County, St Mirren, Partick Thistle, Hamilton, these are big games for the club.
Well, they are, and we've got to make sure that we replicate the effort and the determination added to the ability that we've got to cause teams problems. And next week's game, you're right, home to Ross County and away to St Mirren, I think we're going to be looking to, as I say, kick on from what we've had the last couple of games. The Inverness game's really been the only negative 90 I've had. I think the players, that 90 minutes was a poor one, but I think we've seen bits and pieces from everyone else for the other 3 games, the 2 against Dundee United and the 1 against here today against Celtic. Although they're defeats, it's really important we take the positives out of it.
One last question: you were crippled with an injury last year. I counted 7 or 8. I think sitting in the stand. Obviously Fraser Kerr comes in, David Ferguson comes in, and it's worthwhile saying he's done really well. What's the news on Fraser, and is there any sign of any of these injuries clearing up ahead of those big games?
Well, he's going about with one of these protective boots on, so I take it he's got a kick on the ankle. I think we had an attack up on the right hand side in the first half, and I seen him after it. It was a little bit of pain, so I don't know if he's got a kick on his ankle. David Ferguson deserves great credit when he came on. I was saying that to the press earlier, that he's had 2 involvements in the first team. He came on at half time at Tannadice when Zane went off to play up against Gary Mackay-Stephen, and he's came on midway through the first half against Celtic, so that's certainly that experience will not do him any harm.
And anything on the injuries, any likelihood of David back anytime soon?
Hopefully we're going to get Stevie Hamill back fairly soon. I think he's really important, and the experienced guys are going to be important in this time. I think the Steve McManus's, Keith Lasley's, Stevie Hamill's, Simon Ramsden, John Sutton, they're going to be really important for us, because we're in a situation where we might not think we're in a relegation dogfight, but certainly you look at the league table, I think we are.
Congratulations, Kenny.
Okay, cheers.